Story 1. Am I the jerk for yelling at my girlfriend to stop effing eating? Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy. Thanks. My M26 sister F23 runs a bakery business and she's been struggling lately to keep up with orders because she's been short-staffed. She does a lot of orders for wedding cakes that require custard or marmalade fillings, and I offered to help her out by making these fillings at home and bringing them to her so she has less work to do. Unfortunately, the past 4 times I've made these fillings, my girlfriend F24 has literally dipped her fingers into the filling jars and contaminated them because, in her words, she just wanted to try some. I've tried explaining to her that she can't dip her fingers in and contaminate the entire batch, because then I have to remake it. I said she should use a spoon and take some out if she wants to try so bad, but she just pouts and says that she likes using her fingers because it takes her back to her childhood. Today, I was trying to finish some chocolate custard to send it over to my sister really fast because she was running late on a wedding cake order for an important client. I told my girlfriend beforehand to not eat the custard, and if she really wanted to please use a spoon. I get out of the shower, and what do I see? She has her fingers in it again. I totally lost it because this is the 5th time she blatantly disregarded what I said. And I yelled at her and told her to stop fucking eating the food I'm making, because it's not for her and she's contaminating it. She started crying and got mad at me for fat-shaming her, even though I made no comment on her weight and she has no history of weight issues or eating disorders. I know I was harsh, but she kept pushing my limits. Am I the jerk? Story 2. Am I the jerk for screaming at my pregnant fiancé for not helping me find my dog, who had run off? My fiancé 28F is currently 5 months pregnant and has been both fatigued and nauseous lately. I get why she didn't want to help me look for the dog, but I can't get over the lack of empathy and bordering selfish behavior of this either. My dog 6-Yo Healer, Corgi Mix, runs off at least once a week. Usually my fiancé will help me find her, but it's not without protest. I honestly didn't even know how she was getting out of our fenced yard, so I installed cameras and found that she was scaling the 8-foot fence. I ended up attaching spinners to the top of the fence thinking that would solve the issue, but it didn't. I brought her out today and was playing with her when my phone rang. I was inside just long enough to grab my phone and my dog had gotten out. I immediately went in search for her, thinking she couldn't have gotten far, but I couldn't find her anywhere, so I went back to the house and asked my fiancé, who was curled up on the sofa, to come help me. She immediately said no. She said she was tired of chasing the dog, that she isn't dealing with it anymore and that I should have been out there watching her. I explained to her that I had been watching her and simply stepped away for 0.2 seconds to grab my phone just inside the sliding door and she had escaped. She again said it wasn't her problem and she's not exhausting herself anymore to search for my dog. I won't even say it was unexpected because, as I said, in the past she has always had a problem with helping me search, but she's never said no. She just complained about it. At first I went and searched myself. After maybe a half hour I came back and asked her again to come help me and she snapped. I said no. I am so tired of chasing that dog around multiple times a week when I'm already exhausted and throwing up constantly. I was panicked and unleashed some yelling, which involved me telling her she was a bitch who lacked empathy and that I was thoroughly disappointed with my decision to be with someone so heartless. It was out of pure fear and panic on my part, and I did apologize later, after I found my dog, but she said go fuck yourself and won't talk to me. Am I the jerk? Everyone is on my side except my sister, who says I'm a fucking prick because it's not my pregnant fiance's responsibility to chase around your fucking mutt, and said she would have left immediately if her BF ever said what I did to her. Story 3. Am I the jerk for telling a girl her presence offends me then asking her to leave? My ex Josh, 18 meters, and I, 18F, have a 1-year-old child together. He's a good parent and all, but we don't really mesh well. After a while, all we do is fight and we decided to break up. Before we started dating, there was this girl, Zoe. Apparently Zoe and Josh never dated, but everyone insists that they would have had she not moved away. One of the first things Josh's friends said to him when we broke up was, "You should call Zoe up." I've heard plenty of how perfect they are for each other. She's super pretty too. I'll admit, she was another reason we broke up. Even though she moved hours and hours away, her and Josh would still talk. Nothing ever happened, but you know. Well, she moved back into the area some weeks ago and I haven't seen Josh this happy in a long time. Our daughter's birthday was soon and we agreed on doing birthdays together, and Josh asked if Zoe could be there too since all of our friends were coming anyways. I was going to say no, but I technically had no reason to. She's been super nice to me and our daughter, And it's not like Josh and I are together anymore. She came and everyone's attention was on her. Many of them hadn't seen her in years and well, like I said, she's very pretty. My daughter obviously didn't care, but I felt that everyone was being a bit rude. Even Josh's dad was like, "Wait, you're the Zoe?" And talked to her for ages saying how glad he was to finally meet her. Don't get me wrong, everyone was super sweet to my daughter and my daughter really likes Zoe. But she was the main topic the whole time. My mom noticed this too and kept trying to turn the attention to my daughter. When she gave up, I got really upset. Everyone went out to the backyard and Josh had our daughter. Zoe stayed behind for whatever reason. She started telling me how cute my daughter is. I wasn't in the mood though, so I just replied with MHMS. She noticed and was like, "Did I do something to offend you?" She looked at me like I was crazy and I was so over it. I told her that her whole presence offends me and that I'm tired of hearing about her all the time. I then asked her to please leave. I heard her call me a bitch, but she just quickly whispered something to Josh then left. Now everyone is mad at me because Zoe said she doesn't feel welcome. My parents are the only ones on my side, but I don't care how reliable that is considering. Please be honest, am I the jerk here? Story 4. Am I the jerk for telling my wife the onus of responsibility is for her to tell me things and not me to ask about them? This question is so strangely unique and absurd, I am almost ashamed to be asking it. I've been with my wife for 5 years, married for 3. She's a great mother to 2 young children. She's bright and empathic, and she has this one distinct character flaw that I cannot abide. And I will now present it to you here to see if my response has made me an asshole, which she alleges it does. Last night my wife went out with some girlfriends. They like to jump from a few different bars. We text sporadically, but I trust her to be safe. She told me at one point she felt she was too drunk to drive and was going to leave her car there. We both have each other's location on, so I looked at her location, made a note of it. It was 12 minutes from the house, no biggie. This is an important note and I have thought this in my head but never shared it with her, but my wife generally does not tell me. We're going from this bar to this one, which I like for no other reason than being cognizant of it and knowing where she is at a given time. She rode with a friend to the next bar and then had me come get her. She had work early in the morning, so I took her home, helped her get in bed, and then called an Uber to take me down the road to pick up her car. It was almost on empty, so I stopped and filled it up and drove it home. Next morning, she woke me up and said, "We need to go get my car so I can go to work." I told her I had already went and got it and fueled it up, so she was ready to go. She was pleasantly surprised and said, "How did you know what bar it was at?" I told her, "Well, when you said you were too drunk to drive, I looked at your location and made a note of it." This is where I think I might be the asshole, but to be honest, I wish I didn't have to do that. I wish you would let me know where you're going to be at just so I know in case anything happens to you. Sometimes you don't do a great job at keeping me in the loop. Her immediate retort is the character flaw. It doesn't just pop up when she goes out with a friend, it pops up often. She says, "Well, you didn't ask." I had to take 2 deep breaths and respond. The onus of responsibility is on you, the one that is going to these places, to let me know when you are leaving at one or doing something at another one. I'm not going to just intermittently check your location or try and read your mind. And she let me know that I was being a real asshole here.